We are the nerds of a nation. We are the nerds of a nation. The Walking Dead, Issue 1. And here we are, brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. Welcome, I am Jim, of course, and welcome to a new era, a new series. I made an announcement and did an unboxing a few days ago of the first half dozen hardcover volumes of The Walking Dead. Now, anyone who didn't see that particular clip, that video that I put up, a quick background from my perspective is that I've been wanting to get into the comics for quite some time. I've always been a reader first and then a watch the movie guy later, because I do believe that the written word allows for more exploration and use of your imagination. I believe that when you see a movie, that is the director or the producer's vision of what he thought when he read the book. Whereas when you read a book, it's what your mind conjures up, and that's my philosophical difference between the written word and something that actually is, is a movie or a TV show. Now, my wife, my oldest son, and myself have been avidly watching the hit AMC series for the last 3 seasons. So I will occasionally make, probably comparisons and things like that as we go along. But all in all, I was super just, amped up and excited to get into this, and really hope that, the support that I've had with some of the other series that I've been working with, translates over into this one as well. I hope there's a lot of Walking Dead fans out there. If not, I hope we bring in some new ones. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, each one of these hardcover books has 12 issues, so basically a year's worth of the comic book in it. I'm going to do a review for each one because I tend to get a little long-winded. I feel like I'm insightful and I maybe catch little details that other people might not pick up on. And I also don't like just giving a broad, 20,000-foot overview of something when there's really important, happenings going on. So hopefully that translates well and everybody enjoys it. But I'm doing the same thing over on One Piece, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. So the story opens up, and we're introduced to our main character, and this I only know because I have watched the TV series, but usually that's how stories open up as well, unless it's a prologue or something of that nature. And we're introduced briefly to Officer Rick Grimes and his partner Shane. They're in the midst of a shootout with what looks to be like an escaped convict or escaped prisoner. And Rick winds up getting injured as he's trying to go around it and flank. He tells Shane, and he says, "I'm going to try to flank him." He winds up getting shot while trying to flank this suspect or this escaped prisoner. We then go, and this follows along very closely with the actual TV series. In fact, most of this issue is very, very similar and kind of ripped straight from the pages. The TV show, the first season, was directed and produced by Frank Darabont, who has done a lot of work with Stephen King. He did the classic movie The Shawshank Redemption and The Mist. And if you haven't caught those, you're really missing out, because those are probably the best visual adaptations of books that I've ever seen. But back to the story. Then, all of a sudden, Rick wakes up in the hospital, and there's eerie silence. Now, anybody who's ever been in a hospital because they've been hospitalized, or maybe they know somebody who's been having a baby or sick or whatever the case is, a hospital, even at 2 in the morning, is pretty much a hustle, bustle type of place, man. There's machines beeping, lights everywhere, nurses, guards, whatever, doctors walking around. And there's none of that. Rick is alone. He calls out to a nurse or a doctor. Nobody answers him. He gets himself out of bed. We don't know how much time has passed, but he gets himself dressed and starts wandering around the hospital, which looks like a riot or something took place in it. There's kind of things scattered about, debris everywhere, and as you can imagine, then also there's no power. So he's kind of walking around a bit befuddled, obviously out of it from the coma or whatever that he was in from being shot, and has no idea what's going on. He winds up coming across a corpse, and the corpse just kind of falls back or whatever. And it startles him because what the hell? Where are all the doctors and nurses, and what's their dead body doing in here? He also then goes and comes upon a door, a double door that maybe goes to, I don't know, another floor, a cafeteria, maybe a big room of sorts. And there's a it says don't open, dead inside, which is one of the classic things that you see from the comics and even from the TV show. And there's a board holding it shut, And anyway, he winds up pulling it out and opening it up, despite the warnings, and some zombies, kind of lunge at him. One in particular grabs a hold of him, and he falls backwards down this set of stairs or whatever. So he must have obviously been near the stairwell or what have you. And he's pretty freaked out, but when they fell at the bottom, and got to the bottom of the stairs, the zombie's head pretty much just like hit the ground and fell off because they're just decaying flesh or whatever. So this is Rick's first introduction to like what happened. There's what is it with these like dead people and like this like walking corpse that was coming after me trying to gnaw on me. So he winds up grabbing himself a bicycle. He leaves the hospital, grabs a bicycle. He has a family, and he wants to go see that family now. Okay, he wants to see what happened to them, what's going on. So he gets on the bike, and he's motoring on down the road, and he comes across this zombie that's pretty much just like skin and bones. I mean, it's just like a half of a zombie crawling. You can tell it's a female by the long hair, but he's really, really freaked out. He gets up towards his house or to his house in the neighborhood in the vicinity, and he winds up getting cold cocked from behind. He gets knocked out. Someone hits him with a shovel. We find out in the next panel that the person who knocked him out is a young boy by the name of Duane Morgan. So, at any rate, or Duane Jones, I'm sorry, his father is Morgan. And so in the next page or two, Rick wakes up. He's in the house, and the father now Morgan is apologizing for his son. He says he thought you were one of them, and this and that. And Rick is in the dark. He has no idea what's going on. I mean, could you imagine getting shot, being in some kind of coma or whatever it was, being in the hospital? He finds out that a month has passed, and since this outbreak. And Morgan proceeds to tell him that there was a global epidemic, a outbreak that pretty much happened overnight of epic proportions, and most of the world's population was getting wiped out by these things that they call walkers or whatever, the zombies. You get bit, and somehow this transmits. You get a high fever, and kind of gives him the whole details and the rundown. So Rick is clearly concerned. I mean, this is like waking up in the Twilight Zone, man. It's last thing I knew, I was chasing a perp. I got shot. I wake up in the hospital, and now the dead are walking. What the hell? So he's kind of in disbelief over this whole thing. He explains and then Morgan tells him about how when the power was still on, they were listening to the radio and they were urging people to go towards the major cities. Now he lives outside of Atlanta. And I don't know if they say the exact distance, but I'm assuming it's a couple 100 miles, within a couple hour drive, 2-3 hour drive. And he says, you know what, I'll bet you my wife and son, because when he checked his house, it was empty. It had been ransacked. It looked like obviously it had been looted or whatever, ran through. And he's worried for his wife and his son's life. So he tells Morgan this, and Morgan says, well, they were urging everybody to go to the major cities. And he says, well, you know what, maybe that's where my wife went because she has family there. So he now has hope in his heart again. Rick and Morgan and his son Duane proceed to go to the local police department in town there. This is a small little, podunk type town in the south. And Rick is the sheriff of it, or the deputy, or whatever the case may be. He's got keys. So they're able to go there and just kind of clean up and supply themselves. Rick takes some guns or a gun, ammunition, and a car for himself. Does the same thing for Morgan and Duane. He urges them to come with him, but Morgan says, no, we're going to take our chances here. Rick pretty much parts ways with him and says, hey, listen, I really appreciate the help and everything you did for me. You brought me in, you saved me from those things, you fed me. And then as they're going to kind of part ways, Rick winds up seeing a zombie walk up on the other side of the fence, to the police department. He goes to pull out his gun to shoot it, and this is one of the significant moments that you're going to see. These things are attracted to sound, and they come in droves, in groups, And Morgan also explains to him, and this also happens in the TV show as well. He explains to him, listen, you can take one of them out, no problem. But once they catch a whiff of you, or you attract them with a loud sound, then you get ganged up on, and now you're dealing with 5, 10, 20 of them running, shuffling after you. So he says, just leave them be. Don't even waste your ammunition. So Rick takes his advice, and he winds up agreeing that he's going to go and find his family, but he'll come back at a later time to save Duane or rescue Duane and Morgan. In the meantime, Morgan is camped out in his neighbor's house, in Rick's neighbor's house, and Rick pretty much is like of the mind of, hey, you know what, that's fine. You're watching over the house while they're gone, you know, because he doesn't realize the decimation that's happened to the population as of yet. He's only heard about it from Duane and seen what happened in the town. So Rick goes and you know, gets in his car, and as he drives back through town to where he encountered earlier in the chapter on his bicycle that kind of half-dead zombie, and her name is Hannah. I don't know if there's any significance to that, but we find this out just through some other side notes and things like that. So that the hardcover is pretty cool for giving you a lot of background info. But he winds up getting out of the car and shooting her in the head and putting her out of her misery. And I don't know if that was just an act of kindness and compassion, or if it was basically like, Jesus, these things scare the living shit out of me. I don't know, but let me know. I enjoyed it overall. It was a great first chapter and a great start to a magnificent journey. I've been told by those that have read ahead, and please don't give me any spoilers, that you know, there is a lot of great twists and turns and things that do diverge greatly from the TV series. And I think I'll give a fun, unique perspective, and hopefully everybody will enjoy it. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, nation. Leave a like if you do so feel like it or think I deserve it. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're really kind of ramping up here and trying to get a few, you know, regular series that I'm going to be doing reviews on. And certainly appreciate the comments, the feedback, and the support. So we'll catch you in the next one, which will be issue 2. Take it easy, nation. As always, brothers and sisters, thank you for watching one of my videos, and subscribe if you have not done so already. Let me know how I did in the comments down below, and feel free to take a look on the left or on the right to look at one of my other videos. We'll see you in the next one, nation.